Let's now try and make sense of China's game plan. Imagine 2,400 kilometers from Aksai Chin, China made a sand model to scale. 900 meters by 700 meters, 500 to 1 ratio, replicating mountains, replicating valleys, replicating water bodies. And this was to train troops, and not at some section level or platoon level or even a company level. Was this to train Chinese PLA brigades? Joining me on the show is Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, former Army Commander, Northern Command. Major General G.G. Dwivedi is a very well-respected defense analyst. Colonel Vinayak Bhatt is a satellite imagery analyst par excellence and an OSINT expert. And of course, India Today's consultant editor, Shiv Arur. But Colonel Bhatt, I want to begin by asking you, sir, what do the latest satellite images show of this sand model, and what do you make of the Chinese training here?
Thank you, Gaurav. The thing is, this particular sand model, which is measuring 900 meters by 700 meters, is on ground actually measuring 450 kilometers by 350 kilometers. It's a massive area. It shows the Chinese strategic intentions in our eastern Ladakh. That is what China is eyeing for, and that is what it is aiming for. The training, entire training of the Western Theatre Command is being conducted. This is the largest facility in Western Theatre Command for their training. Okay. At this base, they are carrying out entire training of the combined arms, whatever the brigades that they have restructured. They are carrying out entire training in this area. And what is more important is the deployment pattern which has been seen here. Okay. It is exactly the same as that we saw in Finger 4 area of the Pangong Tso. The same semicircular kind of tents which have been put up, the same kind of
so
tents.
Just imagine.
Exactly the same. Even the sand model, every small little detail is same. The water bodies.
So the level of training, this is no spur of the moment decision. Fair enough.
Not at all. Not at all. This has been constructed in 2004.
Fair enough. Let me quickly bring in Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, why would China... Yes, imagine. Yes. Shiv, why would China do this? Clearly, this isn't salami slicing of territory. China appears to have a bigger, more sinister game plan, Shiv.
You know, Gaurav, when I first reported the existence of this particular Ladakh replica 2 years after it came up in 2004, I reported it in 2006 when I was with the Indian Express. At that time, the Indian Army had said a very interesting thing. They said that they are not surprised by it. These are standard military methodologies, but they very interestingly said that the border has been very, very peaceful, so there's nothing to actually be alarmed about, which is ironic when you look at it in the current atmosphere and the current scenario. But since 2004, which as Colonel Vinayak Bhatt rightly pointed was the time when this replica actually came up, China has actually spruced up this sand model, this life-size sand model, and expanded it in a very big way. So when you compare what it was in 2004 and now, it is vastly more impressive now, much more detailed, much more realistic, and a much more faithful representation of that particular part of Aksai Chin and the Ladakh border. This is where the Chinese train. You know, other armies in the world train on mini sand models and mostly have to imagine how to go about it. The training doctrine of the Chinese, both at the tactical level as well as the strategic level, Gaurav, is to do it in a real-time scenario. Apart from actually using this replica to train and then deploy in Aksai Chin and the Ladakh border, it also ties in with the larger training mobilization order under Xi Jinping, Gaurav, that you very well know, which basically mandates that the Chinese army should conduct its training in real-life conflict scenarios to test the adversary and to test assertiveness of neighbors. So that is what we're actually seeing right now. The pictures that we're seeing that have been procured by Colonel Vinayak Bhatt have come up from time to time in the last 14 years, and they've always provided a very, very real and gritty sense of the kind of almost frightening real-world training of conflict that the Chinese army indulges in, and it's only now that it's become even more relevant.
absolutely. For a decade and a half, General Jaswal, the Chinese army has been training using a real life, in a way, sand model, and at this scale, General Jaswal, every army uses a sand model for war games, but this takes it altogether to a different level, General Jaswal.
You're right, absolutely. And let me be very, very frank. The Chinese, they have depth of perspective in the sense that they look at 20, 30, 50 years hence. What exactly is going to unfold after 50 years, and they start preparing from now onwards. When I was commanding 4 Corps in Arunachal and Assam, I had the privilege of being a member with General JJ to, sorry, not that time, I went as an independent person to China for 14 days visit. And we went to Inner Mongolia, where they have a training facility, a huge training facility, and we saw a live demonstration of everything out there. They have got huge sand models over there, and they try and carry out as much, realistic as possible training on the
General
ground.
Dwivedi,
itself,
if I may come to you.
everything out.
General Dwivedi,
So,
a sand model of this scale, spread over a kilometer, what kind of activities would the Chinese be conducting here? What kind of troops? Would they only be training infantry or even artillery and armor? General Dwivedi.
Well, firstly, Savant, I'm delighted to be on a channel, and it's always a pleasure. And I must compliment you for going into such depth of Chinese training. Well, I had the opportunity of looking at China for 3 years very closely, and I have gone to a number of the training areas. Let me first tell you that each theater command has a very large training area where they do actually on-ground training in very, very realistic conditions, and they do the training as live drills. Now, that is the kind of training which the PLA does. Second point is that they do training at 2 levels. One is tactical levels, what you have seen this model, where they do the practice drill at the company, platoon, and the battalion level. And second, they do major exercises where they move complete divisions and they go over large distances in a very, very realistic conditions. So point number 1 I'm making is that this is from a personal experience, ringside view of Chinese training, which is very realistic and which is doctrinal driven, because they train as per doctrine and they have very clear doctrine, limited war under informational conditions, and also gray zone warfare, which combines the 3 warfare. First point. Secondly, they do training over a long period of time, and the command tenures of the commanders are very, very
let's
long.
take this point by point, General.
Second is that they have very long command tenures. They are able to train the command
Colonel,
over
but
long
what kind
period
of training have you been able to spot here?
Well,
Yeah,
this
I must
training
tell
basically
that
is
the
Yes.
PLA,
Colonel, but have you been able to spot any training at this point of time?
yes. The Chinese PLA actually lacks combat experience. That is what is wrong with the PLA. They have not fought war since the North Korean campaign. Well, they derive even motivation from Huang Chi-kwang, who is a North Korean war hero. Even that is happening today. And whatever we have seen at this particular training facility is that they are trying to leverage this shortcoming of their combat experience through training. They are conducting training at massive scales, even at company level, battalion level, naval level, at whatever level. Even group armies are moved together and training is conducted. That is how they are doing. We've seen a number of armored vehicles here, number of artillery units, everything we've seen. We've seen SPH howitzers, everything has been seen in this area. Even UAVs have been noticed. So that is the kind of training they are undertaking, just to have control over eastern Ladakh.
Okay, General Jaswal, a sand model of this scale, PLA soldiers, artillery, infantry, armor, all undergoing training here. perhaps they would know every nook and cranny of the areas they came in, whether it's Pangong So or Galwan or Hot Springs or Gogra. So in your appreciation, what kind of skills would these soldiers possess now that we face off with them at the LAC?
Of course, whatever is there is on ground. That is expanded on onto a sand model. But let me quote to you an incident which will explain the whole thing. I was in China and Inner Mongolia, and the DA was General Joshi, the present Northern Army commander. And there they had, like General Dwivedi, a friend of mine, a colleague, they carried out the entire thing. Even there were heavy drops of your APCs, etc., live firing, tank movement, attack hepters, everything was going on. And my comment to my friend over there was that I think everything is wrong in this particular thing, what they're doing. And I won't name the country. The DA of that country came and told General Joshi, that time a colonel, he told him, he says, if this is the kind of drill that they are doing, the practice, you need not fear an enemy. Let me tell you, from here onwards, I'd like to come on to the practical part of it. What General Dwivedi is saying, the troops have got only theoretical knowledge.
Okay.
They don't have practical experience, the Chinese troops. I even studied the sinews of the Chinese soldier. It is not the same of 62. It is there in my report also after the visit. Now, they would have carried out training, which is there required in areas like Galwan or other areas, Depsang Plains, etc., or Pangong So area. They actually carry out training on features akin to where they're going to operate. But let me also tell you another thing. I went to Lanchao, and Lanchao, I was being briefed out there. I'm sorry to say that the generals over there who were talking, they were actually talking at tactical level. They were not talking at strategic level. JC level, they were talking. I will call JC via junior command level or senior command level. So the combat experience is the biggest inadequacy with the Chinese army. Theoretically, they may be okay. General Dwivedi spent more time. You know the Chinese far better than...
Shiv, fair enough. That's a point very well made. Yes. Yes, that's a point very well made. Shiv, but this sand model is like 6 cricket fields large. There's an artillery field firing range attached. The Chinese now have light tanks, self-propelled 155mm howitzers, specifically for high-altitude warfare. Could they, Shiv, and you've been doing a lot of reading and talking to your sources, is their game plan? Is their game plan to threaten subsector north, either Siachen, Depsang, Daulat Beg, Oldie? Is that the game plan?
You know, the war game very much takes into account all of these scenarios, Gaurav. The Depsang intrusions, the ability to try and cut off Indian patrol, patrol points in the Depsang Plains and the Daulat Beg Oldie sector is something that has been, vintage China. We've seen it for over a decade now where they've tried to do it. There has been a major intrusion in 2013 as well. So absolutely, to answer your question, very much part of the war game. You know, this is a very visible facility that we've actually looked at. I understand that there are other facilities in places like Huangyangtan and elsewhere in, further east in China, where there are other, sand models and replicas of a similar kind, perhaps of even greater detail that might actually depict other parts of Ladakh, maybe even south of the Pangong So area. So let's make no mistake, Gaurav, China's intentions, which have been demonstrated with this huge mobilization across the friction points, is a much larger game. This is not just tactical action. A far greater training, ethic and mobilization is under test here. And I think the Indian government and the Indian forces are fully aware of that. The generals and Colonel Bhatt that we have on this show are far better at understanding what the tactical and the strategies of China may be. But let's make no mistake, this is an army that is professional. They may not have the same kind of experience, anywhere close to the kind of experience that the Indian army has in war fighting. But these are soldiers and officers who will stop at nothing to get the kind of experience they need to mount hostile actions against India. And I think that's the big takeaway from this, Gaurav.
Well, oh, absolutely. And General Dwivedi, President Xi Jinping is understood to have told then US Secretary of Defense James Mattis in 2018 that China will not sacrifice an inch of territory, as he put it, of their ancestors. Now, if you were to think like the Red Army, what would their game plan be, given that SAND model and their action on ground?
Well, I think, Gaurav, first and foremost, when Xi Jinping came to power in 2012, he laid out a very clear roadmap for the PLA, and he said the PLA will be the world-class army by 2035. And I had done a couple of articles on PLA. The PLA is training to be an army of world class. That is first point. Secondly, they are training as per the doctrine of limited war. They don't expect to fight a major war. And they have been following this strategy of nibble and negotiate. I don't call it salami slicing. I have my own, jargon, nibble and negotiate. And they always try to snatch the initiative or surprise from the other side. Third very important point is, well, given that they don't have the battle experience, but I will go along with Shiv to some extent, that they are trying to compensate the lack of battle experience through very, very realistic training. And very important point is that they are good at the basic tactical drills. They are, as General Jambal brought out, that even the generals talk in tactical terms because they don't intend to fight a major strategic battle, because they have almost what they wanted and they are only going for small gains.
That's a very important point.
The point I'm trying to make is, if I'm in the shoes of Red Army, the mandate is very clear and the game is very long thought through. It is not one step, two step. I would say 8 to 10 step. What she was trying to bring out is that it is a long drawn game. What we are saying is possibly the first and second step. I think third, fourth, fifth is yet to unfold.
Or is it that after Galwan, they've also been perhaps forced to rethink their strategy? Did they expect the casualties on their side, or did they think they can intimidate us, coerce us into ceding more territory, and Galwan has put them back? Stay with me for a moment as we talk about the basic baby steps that India and China are now taking towards disengagement. So military and diplomatic dialogue will continue. The Indian Army says this process is intricate. China is pulling back, but can China be trusted? And Indian Army says very clearly, constant verification is required at every level. The Chinese army has thinned out its deployment between Finger 4 and Finger 5 on the north bank of Pangong Tso. After more than a 14-hour-long meet at Chushul in Ladakh, both the Indian and the Chinese commanders, Lieutenant General Harinder Singh and Major General Lin Liu, reviewed the progress of the first disengagement process and discussed the next step towards total disengagement and de-escalation at the 4 flashpoints in Ladakh.
As you know, has that entire policy of salami slicing, and now China does not want to vacate out or go back to its previous, what India demands, that it goes back to what was the position in May 2019. Now China is trying to pressurize India to accept their claim of, especially in Pangong Tso, that instead of Finger 8, they are going to be up till Finger 4.
The Indian Army spokesperson issued a statement saying the senior commanders reviewed the progress on implementation of the first phase of disengagement and discussed further steps to ensure complete disengagement. The two sides remain committed to the objective of complete disengagement. The process is intricate and requires constant verification. The Chinese side too spoke of steps being taken to disengage in Ladakh, saying that the two sides achieved progress in further disengagement between the border troops and easing the situation at the boundary. So far, the Chinese forces have moved back completely at the Galwan Valley Patrol Point 14 and have reduced their presence both at Patrol Point 15 and 17A. However, given the high level of mistrust, the thinning out process is extremely slow at the north banks of Pangong So.
You don't want peace. You want to buy time. You want to ensure that matters cool down. And it's my guarantee, let me forecast. China, the moment China sees that situation is favorable, they will again come back. So we don't have to dilute our troops deployment. We have to ensure that we are ready for any eventuality.
In New Delhi, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and the Army Chief General Manoj Naravne reviewed the progress of talks. India remains firm that China must move back beyond Finger 8 and restore status quo ante as on the 2nd of May 2020. The confrontation at Depsang Plains in the north will be addressed separately as the focus remains on complete disengagement, de-escalation and ultimate denunciation of Chinese divisions to their peacetime locations.
There has been a lot of progress since the first Corps Commander level meet that took place on the 6th of June, but the Army has made it very clear that the process of disengagement involves a lot of intricacies and everything needs to be physically verified on the ground. From here onwards, the big focus will be on the Pangong Lake, which still remains a tricky issue, and in time to come, once the disengagement has happened from all friction areas, the focus will shift to de-induction of troops as well as artillery and tanks that were brought close to the line of actual control.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.